Hi, my name is Brianna Link, and I'm part of the Embezzlement Crisis Group for CIS 300. We created a life insurance company called Bbig Insurance Group. So Bbig Insurance Group provides life insurance to those around the Lexington area and the surrounding region. So for our executive summary and introduction. So the company Bbig Insurance Group is facing an embezzlement crisis, which is forcing them to make difficult decisions regarding employment, policy holders, and stakeholders. So we found that several branch managers in our region were part of an embezzlement ring, taking benefits from our customers. So our company will conduct an investigation, learn more about what happened leading up to the embezzlement. We want to know who was behind it, the motives behind it, how much was taken, who was affected, all of that. After the investigation, we will take appropriate action toward the employees involved in the crisis. Legal action must be taken in order to recover our losses against third parties. And finally, our company will ensure that an incident of this nature will never occur.
My name is Chandra Talon, and I'm the Communication Liaison for Bbig Insurance Group. And our task is to address our stakeholders with recommendations for how to best handle our $500,000 of unclaimed benefits embezzlement crisis. Various channels of communication are used to formulate our response, which include a press release, a social media post via our Facebook page, a letter to the stakeholders of the company, and an email to our manager of HR. According to Find Law, there are certain steps to follow in case of an embezzlement crisis. These steps can be implemented in differing degrees of significance depending on the offense. Murray defines embezzlement as the act of an employee wrongfully appropriating funds entrusted in their care but owned by someone else. The majority of business losses in which employees face is due to employee embezzlements. According to Find Law, this is a common occurrence regardless of the company's size. The first step to handling employee embezzlement is to investigate the employee and situation. Second, reprimand or terminate the employee depending on the outcome of the first step. Third, file an employee dishonesty claim. Fourth, recover the company's losses against third parties. The last step is to involve the criminal justice system in order to obtain restitution. Throughout this presentation, we will address these steps in detail and how we can implement them to best benefit.
Hi, my name is Kyle Brubaker, and I am the current acting branch manager at the Lexington District for the Bbig Insurance Group. I was tasked with coming up with the recommendation 1 for how we tackle this embezzlement crisis that we are facing. The first step, which comes from thehartford.com, of solving an embezzlement crisis is to know the signs of a theft into corporations. Some of those ways that may happen is by a loss in profits or just missing money is occurring. The second step from the Hartford.com says that you need to evaluate the situation and that the company is facing. What the situation we are facing is we have lost $500,000 of life insurance benefits to our consumers. The third step is to hire an outside agency or your own legal team to begin investigating the problem. Hiring an outside agency, however, can be very expensive, so us at Bbig Insurance Group have decided to go with our own legal corporate team that is very well tested and they're able to tackle this situation. The fourth step in conducting an investigation is to collect all relevant evidence. This includes phone calls, emails, surveillance videos, and financial records of the institution. The fifth step would be to gather perspectives and testimonies from other employees. We are currently narrowing down the investigation to several branch managers, and we are conducting interviews with people under them to see what all they know or what they might have heard. Step 6 would be to document all the findings and evidence involving the case. This includes writing a written report and a thorough, detailed piece of evidence that has all the information to apprehend these people who have been causing this crime in our company. The seventh step is to report findings to all groups and individuals who will need to know. So that includes all of corporate, public relations,
so as
and
Kyle
things
had
of that.
stated, it was important for us to be able to inform all interested parties as to what was going on with our embezzlement crisis. And we figured the best way to do that was through social media outlets. As Paul Bates, a writer for Georgetown University, states that social media has allowed public relations to reach a much larger audience. So we went onto our Facebook page, and as you can see here, we uploaded the initial findings of our embezzlement crisis, just informing our community that there was an issue, that we've got money missing, and that we were working hard to fix it. And we encourage them to kind of follow along on our page for updates. You can see here that we posted another update letting them know that we had been narrowing down suspected employees that were involved in this. We also reached out to them to let them know if they had any questions or comments or concerns involving this, that their interest is a number one priority for us. So we listed all of the points of contacts for all the people in Big Brand Insurance Group that are handling this embezzlement crisis.
So we at Big Brand Insurance Group would like to prevent this from ever happening again. So how do we as a group prevent an embezzlement like this from happening to our company ever again to ensure that we never lose money? According to allbusiness.com, there can be 8 tips to prevent employee and theft in the future. The first thing that we are going to start doing is to create a positive work environment. What this does is includes lines of communication open between management and employees and giving employees positive recognition. The second step from allbusiness.com says that we can implement internal controls. What that means is include separation of duties, access controls, and authoritative communications. Third step we can do is hire honest people. This will just limit our problems in general and make our company more successful. We can educate our employees. This will keep them engaged in the company and make them not want to do wrongful things to hurt us. The fifth step we can do is create an anonymous reporting system. This way, if a crisis like this were to happen again with, like, for say, branch managers, they can just report it straight to a private person instead of going through their boss to deal with the issue. The sixth step is perform regular and irregular audits. This is just to keep the company honest and each branch honest with their financial works and stuff of that matter. The seventh step is to investigate every incident. This is just to make sure we are thorough with everything else that happens so nothing like this ever happens again. And the eighth example is lead by example, because we need to be a strong company and show our employees that we don't settle for anything like this.
Hi, I'm Bridget Rennick, and I am the HR manager here at Big Brand Insurance Group. I was tasked with the recommendations for our employees during this investigation. So once our investigation was complete and we were successful in ascertaining the proper amount of evidence on each employee and determining what their involvement in it was, we met with our legal team and the rest of the HR department to kind of sit down and figure out what the best course of action was. All the employees had been suspended without pay during the investigation, and once our investigation came back and we had the irrefutable evidence that we needed, we determined that it was best for our company, our consumers, and the rest of our community to go ahead and relieve those people from their positions and to cut all ties with them. We have a zero tolerance policy here at Big Brand Insurance Group for theft, fraud, and deception, and we knew that we had to make an example of these people in a timely manner to try to repair our reputation and to prevent any further damage to our reputation. Moving forward, like Kyle had mentioned in his 8-step plan, we are going to use our talent acquisition team to seek a greater employee. We're going to make sure that they are dignified and honest and qualified for this job. That way we can avoid all of these kind of incidents.
Hi, my name is Sean Adams. I'm the legal advisor here at Big Brand Insurance Group. It has come to my attention that there was an embezzlement caught here at our group. So as soon as I noticed this, I went ahead and did all legal research I could. As soon as I did, I found out that we had 90 days, according to the EEOC, to file a lawsuit against the individuals who conducted the embezzlement. While doing such, I wanted to make sure that we had enough evidence to convict these people, because if we did not, then more than likely they could actually get off scot-free. And as a legal advisor for the Big Brand Insurance Group, I did not want that to happen. Because at our group, we want to ensure that we are putting the customers before anything else. After all, if we didn't do that, what type of business would we be? So moving on from that, once I gathered the evidence and once I made sure that it was sufficient enough, I wanted to go ahead and advise our group to terminate the individuals who were caught in the embezzlement. Because during the whole legal process, there's going to be a lot of tension going to be thrown in there. And it's very important that we keep the people separated. The individuals do not need to be a part of this group, because they could easily lash out at our group or vice versa. However, as we are a very ethical group, we're not going to do anything that is beyond our means. So as we move through the legal process, we are also going to keep in check the victims who were taken a part of the embezzlement. We want to ensure them and show them that they are in fact going to get their money. During this legal process, we might even bring them in, nay, we will bring them in for witness statements and testimonies. And we also want to make sure that our options are going to be continuously weighed. After all, we don't want to get too far into this lawsuit and find out that we're going to be more money in the hole than we are without. But at that same time, it comes into the question of how much do we value our customers? And it is my personal recommendation that we continue on with this legal lawsuit. That way we can ensure at the very end that our people who were victimized by these individuals get what they need to deserve. So also while conducting, I found FindLaw was a very helpful source. FindLaw made sure that I knew what I was doing, and that when it come to companies and legal procedures, that we kept in mind that everything, every step is very important. At that same time, we are going to motion the defendant to pay some court costs to also help alleviate the costs that we're going to incur from having to take these individuals to court. After all, it is important that we make them pay the court costs, because if they had not committed these problems, if they had not committed the embezzlement, then there would have been no reason for us to even bring lawsuit against them. Which, in my own opinion, there is no doubt that the judge will in fact award us the money that these people have taken from the customers. They will reward us the money, and then we can redistribute the money as need be. At that same time, we're also going to need to help these victims file criminal suits against these individuals. It is important that we know that we ourselves cannot file individual criminal cases, as we are a company. That is up to the state in which we reside, Kentucky. We will also provide any evidence need be to the individuals. At the end of the day, I think going through and processing this to the legality of the courts is the best option we have. After all, we are a group that is founded on ethical and proper procedure. And what better way is there to be proper than to go through the United States government system?
Brianna Link here, head of PR for Big Brain Insurance Group. So just kind of wrapping up with this presentation and with our investigation. So we have three main objectives coming into it. The first was to identify those behind the embezzlement crisis. That meant surveying all of our branches, looking through branch managers, people over finances, just regular employees, things of that nature. And the second was to identify the customers affected, just so that we're able to get ahead of the game, and get ahead of helping them with repairments, reimbursements, and things of that nature. And then the third was to reimburse customers and reestablish our standards and principles surrounding customer relations. So that means more so looking at our policies and our standards, where we are fulfilling them, where we're falling short in terms of customer relations, what we need to revise, review, edit, just to enhance that relationship with those that we serve. So following the investigation, you heard from our legal advisor, Mr. Adams, that and from our HR manager, Bridget, that we have relieved all of our employees involved of positions with Big Brain Insurance Group and are currently looking to fill them. We just felt it was best that we terminate them of their positions. We do not need to have that type of reputation for our group. We do not pride ourselves on that type of behavior. So it's just best that we terminate those that were involved in this crisis. And we are still currently looking to fill them. And like our one of our new acting branch managers, Mr. Brubaker, said, we are looking to find more honest people that will, hold themselves to a high standard, hold themselves to the standards of this company. So lastly, we are currently reviewing our current policies and principles surrounding customer relations. Here at Big Brain Insurance Group, we pride ourselves on having very thorough, very comfortable customer relationships, and that is something that we want to continue. And so in reviewing our policies, we are able to see where we might lack, where we may fall short, what we need to improve on, and things of that nature. So on behalf of Big Brain Insurance Group, we want to thank you all for coming to this presentation. Thank you all for being very attentive and very interested in this crisis that we are facing. We most importantly want to thank you all for sticking with us as we go through this. Thank you all.